Welcome to the Biz Gone Social podcast. We help entrepreneurs navigate how to get known, get customers, and get the edge over their competition. Here is your host, Lorraine Duncan.
So here we are on the Biz Gone Social podcast, and I am so glad to be here. And my promise to you, as always, is I want to give you a little bit of verbal caffeine that's going to energize your business. Because after all, don't you want to be the business that everyone's talking about? I know I do. And today I am so stoked to have Theresa Rose with me. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Lorraine. I am so excited to be here on your show.
Yeah, and I'm excited to have you. I think we're going to have a lot of good things to talk about today. So why don't you tell my audience a little bit about who you are and what you do and who you serve?
Wow. Great question already out the top. So who am I? I am a brand and business crystallizer and strategic co-creator. That's how I spend the majority of my time, is helping people get clarity on a cocktail napkin about how they show up in the world, and then taking what's on that cocktail napkin off the napkin and putting it into application.
That's awesome. You know, it's funny. You just struck a nerve a little bit here because we have a friend who's an artist, and their parents were artists too. And one of the drawings that they did in a diner, they did it, was on a napkin. So when you said cocktail napkin, I went right to that story.
Oh.
And, you know, by the way, and I'm sure you know that most ideas do start on a cocktail napkin. And
Exactly. You know, there's people think that it might be, you know, kind of silly to pull out a cocktail napkin to build a brand or a business. But the reality is that there is something very magical that happens when you get so crystal clear that you can doodle something on, you know, just a few inches of real estate and be able to convey such power and such information and insight. And it also, I was just getting into a conversation with someone over social media on LinkedIn today, where we talked about there's the brain loves to actually write, and it's so literally write with a pen or a pencil or a crayon or, you know, Sharpie, whatever you want to do. Something happens with our creativity and our energy that, you know, being behind the keyboard simply doesn't have.
yeah, and I also think too, I mean, many times I'll be like driving in my car and all of a sudden I'll have this big idea, and then it's like, well, you know, there's nowhere to pull over. And so now I just like, I'll turn on my phone and hit record, and I'll just like record my idea. It's just like so fun. So
Yeah.
tell me a little bit. So with branding and ideas of just getting your whole business in order, marketing, you know, what would you say? You know, business owners confuse all those terms. You know, they have branding, they have marketing. Is it important to have your branding on everything? What is marketing? You know, I get all different kinds of answers when it comes to this. But what would you say is the biggest struggle when it comes to marketing on, you know, your business and your brand?
The number one pain point that I solve is lack of clarity. I find that when people aren't crystal clear about who they are, what they do, what makes them different than everyone else, so clear that you can draw it on a cocktail napkin, not just words, but actual visuals that represent who you are, what you do. That lack of clarity, what tends to happen in my experience, Lorraine, is that when they don't really know in their heart of hearts what makes them, what makes them unique and different, and really from their heart, how do they show up in the world? What then happens is they add a bunch of nonsense. They add a bunch of words and fluff and, you know, fancy talk that they think is going to help them. So what I see is it's really critical that you spend the extra time and energy to get really, really, really clear. And if you can't draw that on a cocktail napkin, what makes you different than everybody else, and your thing, what is, then go back to the drawing board and start over again and start working a little more. Because once you do that, once you get a level of clarity that you can draw a picture of it, then you can amplify that strategically across all the channels that people take you in. They read you, they listen to you, they watch you, they interact with you, and then you monetize off of that. It's clarify, amplify, monetize. What I see, Lorraine, as a real challenge with people is that they get so consumed with monetize. Right? They are constantly looking at, how can I make more money? How can I add another product into my suite of offerings? What can I do to, get the do-re-mi? And then when they don't get that, they go against the grain of the creative process, in my view, and they start to focus on amplify. They scrape after the amplification. They're looking for, I need to get an ad. I need to get a PR person. I need to do a new campaign. I need to belong to this network. And they really think that spreading the word is what they need to do to grow from a marketing standpoint, when the reality is, if they had a brand that they could clarify visually, a visual brand of their unique essence, to make them a category of one, once that clarity happens, then the ways in which that we show up naturally will unfold. So your question of, does the brand need to be on everything? In my view, your visual brand, right? The picture of your brilliance, your visual brand should be with you every single second of the day, because sales conversations happen everywhere. They don't happen in this crafted way of, it's only going to happen when I've got my website updated and I've got all my perfect demo video done and I've got all the, things in place. That opportunities happen anytime, right? So the more that you can really know your brand, not just, is it pretty? Is it, do I think it's going to go well on my website? It's really about what is underneath the brand. What's the information and insight that's unique to me that the brand represents?
Yeah. And it's so many times, like, I have clients that will come to me, and like, to be able to do somebody's marketing, like if I'm doing their social media marketing, for instance, I cannot promote them if they're not clear of who they are and who they serve. Yes. Everybody, I don't know, you've probably come across this too, is, once you get the clarity about, who you are as a brand and who you are, then it comes to like, well, who do you serve? And right. People get so, I don't know if you've noticed it, but people get so stuck in that. It's like, who are your ideal clients? And they right. can even describe them. And so it's very hard when I don't have like clarity with the brand, like what they do. Yeah. And if I don't have the clarity of who they serve, it's very hard to market to nothing, because you have to market to something. And I know people, like, I don't know if you've come across this, but I have people that, have been in business for a while and they haven't moved forward in their business because they still haven't put a website up, that they're so stuck. And right. It's sad, but it's like, how do you get people beyond that? That's the point. The point is I'm sure you've had it. I'm sure you had somebody that come in, I don't know what I do.
Everybody, every single person I work with says, I don't know what I do.
I do website design. I do this. I'm a photographer. Well, yeah. What kind of photographer you are? Exactly. It's like what separates you? There's 3 million wedding photographers. What separates right. you from 3 million wedding photographers? Yeah. I don't know. So how do you besides, your content or your cocktail napkin, strategy, how do you bring that out in someone that's like they can't see beyond right now?
Right. Well, that's another great question. I just want to dovetail on what you said before about that target market. My experience in why they're so resistant to identifying who their target market is because they can't identify what the pain is that they're fundamentally solving. And they can't understand the pain they fundamentally solve because they don't understand what they actually do, and they can't see themselves. So there's the broken process, right, of the fact of course you don't know who you're serving because you don't know the pain you solve, which you don't really understand, the solutions that you bring. So how do I get people to do that? Well, I discovered this accidentally, Lorraine, this idea of strategic co-creation. I have a very colorful background of learning about co-creation, the power of the master mind. When two or more people come together in the spirit of unity for a single purpose, amazing things happen. Right behind me behind my left shoulder is my 1960 weathered copy of Think and Grow Rich, yellowed copy of my mother's. It's $1.95. Chapter 10 says the power of the master mind. When two or more people come together in the pursuit of a single purpose, amazing things happen. So how do I pull that out of people? I really see it as a strategically sacred practice. So whether it's an agency or it's an association or it's a solopreneur or a marketing executive who wants to eventually transition into their own private brand or their own personal brand, whatever it is, I really adopt the approach of being their mastermind partner, their strategic co-creator. So what that means is I create a very safe space to bring your half-baked, ugly, your word salad, your thought spaghetti. And I really see them. And in the process of what I do as a crystallizer, I digest all their content because they don't have to tell me what makes them brilliant. They've already been brilliant. They've already been brilliant in the expression of their content. Now, that content may not be well written. That content may not be well presented. It may be confusing and weird and disjointed and a lot of noise and other sort of nonsense in it. But the reality is that I believe, my heart of hearts believes that every single person is here to shine their light brilliantly and can make a difference in the world. And that can be clouded by an awful lot of noise if you can't see yourself. You cannot see yourself. That's why Think and Grow Rich made a lot of men rich, because they can't see their own brilliance to the degree that someone else can, and then support it and make it grow bigger as a result of it. So what I do is I create this safe space to really learn about them and investigate them. I'm like a CSI investigator when it comes to their content and their brilliance, and I look for it. And that process of giving them some reflection, right? Not just saying, tell me about you, but I'm going to say, I'm going to tell you about you, because I've studied you, and I've not just studied you from an intellectual standpoint. I'm also studying you from a strategic marketing standpoint, and I'm studying you from an intuitive standpoint, where I find out what lights them up. I can tell when I'm reading someone's manuscript, or I can look at their social platforms, or I can listen to a podcast interview that they did on BizGone Social, or any of the other places that I can connect with them with how they shine. I will actually feel where they light up. You can feel it when someone is enthusiastic about something. And so those kinds of alchemic ways in which I, pull all of that information together to really be able to show them themselves. And when I show them themselves, here's what I see in you. That's then the opportunity for them to not just go, yay, that's amazing, and let's add to it and let's refine it. Let's, what I call, work the wobble to perfection, so that they have really a safe partner to do that creative work with. They're not just hearing it from a marketing agency saying, this is what we think your brand is, after you filled out a 50-page survey, right? It's really about a co-creative, organic, beautiful, amazing process of refining. It takes a lot of work to get to a few words. Right? It isn't, if it were easy, everybody do it. And there's a famous quote from Pascal that says, forgive the length of this letter. I didn't have time to write a shorter one.
That's good. Wow. I'm listening to you, and it's like all these, like, I feel too, like for me, I've been in like some masterminds and stuff. And when I'm in a mastermind, I literally have so many good ideas. And just to get the feedback, I think it should be part of every process. Like I've wrote a book, and I'm writing another one now, but it's a personal book. It's not anything to do with my business. And I find that I go through periods of, oh my God, I can't do this.
Yeah.
It's like, and so what do you say? There's a lot of people out there that, they're good at what they do, But when it comes to online marketing, for instance, you have to have content. You have to have relative engaging content that's going to solve, as you know, somebody's problem or pain point.
Yep.
And I hear this all the time. Is like, I hate creating content. I hate creating content. How do you help somebody get through that? Like, because today, if you're not online, nobody knows who you are.
Right.
Most everybody is, they're on the phone and they are pressing away. And so if you don't have engaging content and you're not creating good content that's going to express your brand and who you are, nobody's going to see you.
That's right. And content shouldn't be a dirty word. Content has what I believe is that the lack of clarity is everything. Okay. When you have that lack of clarity, then what happens is you have misaligned strategies as a result. You don't really know what your content should say on any given day, any given week, any given month, any given year. You're constantly struggling with going back to the well to go, okay, I hope I can think of something interesting to say that somehow will not make me look like a total cheese ball as I'm selling my wares, and that people will resonate. And in my view, what happens with content is you love doing content when you are crystal clear. When you are crystal clear and it comes from your heart, it is in your DNA of your business, right? When you have that level of clarity and the words, the actual words, and the content. Now, I'm not talking about just hashtags. I'm literally saying, like, it's only you, it's your jam. Like, for example, clarify, amplify, monetize. That's my jam, right? Crystallize your brilliance. That's what I do all the time, every day. And either I'm doing it or I'm speaking about it or I'm talking to somebody about doing it. And so when I'm doing my content, I can do 25% of the content that other people do, because all of the content that I send out in the world is through that same lens of my brilliance. And so everywhere that I speak, everywhere that I write, everywhere that I interact, all the things, this interview I'm talking about, the very same thing, right? Is that becomes, when it's what you love, this is what drives, I think, content. True, meaningful content marketing is love of what you do, love of who you are, love of helping another person or another organization, love of the process that you go through, love of the products that you serve, love of success and how it makes a difference when you put your brilliance into the world. And when that love comes through, then it's easy to do a video, it's easy to write a tweet, it's easy to do a post, right? So getting that level of clarity, again, is such an integral part of unlocking someone's love of content marketing. They don't have to do as much, because what's then going out into the ecosystem, right? The marketing ecosystem of the whole world of how we pay attention to each other is the same information, not just the information, but you can feel the heart underneath it too. And when there's that heart underneath it, then organically, naturally, your content is going to be more resonant with people, because they're going to feel it instead of just go, oh, okay, here's another post.
Yeah. And you literally, there's some people that I followed for years that when I read their stuff, I know exactly their voice, who it is. And one of the things that I always see is their passion for what they're talking about. Yes. What they really want to get across. And I don't know, I heard somebody say this, that I think they said something like, I'm so passionate for what I do that it hardly even seems like work.
Exactly. That's what you want. You want your purpose to come through. You want your love to come through. And then it doesn't matter. I speak all the time, not only on stages, but, here in interviews and one-on-ones and working with folks and organizations. And if I say the wrong word, or it doesn't come out right, or I go on a tangent that, is unnecessary, I still have the fuel within it, which is my enthusiasm. I won most enthusiastic in second grade. And I think that's maybe one of the reasons why I'm so passionate about helping other people get theirs, is because I know the power of it. I've seen my whole life what happens from a sales perspective. Remember, marketing isn't just about sending out the information out to the world. You also want to be able to close the deal. You also want to be able to have people give you money for what you do. And that is a sales conversation. That is a sales specialty. So in order to be really great at marketing, you want to also have an eye to what's going to make me the best salesperson also. And that is confidence, competence, right? Connection with each other. And only that comes from really tapping into that inner clarity that you need.
Absolutely. You talked a lot about your little formula there, and one of it was
Yeah.
amplify.
Yeah.
What would you say is, some keys to amplifying your message so that it gets out there more?
Yeah, great question. So really three ways. It needs to be smart, easy, and fun. Those three things. Smart, you want to have it built on, in my view, you want to have it built on a foundation of expertise, which is again that crystallized cocktail napkin. So it needs to be smart. You want to make sure that you're putting content out there that is in support of your overall vision. Number one. Easy, number two. You already know what you're going to write about. You already know what your secret sauce is, so that it's going to be, oh, hey, I just thought of something. I'm just going to open up my phone. I'm going to do a video. I'm going to do it for 30 seconds and go, hey, everybody, I was just thinking about the importance of clarify, amplify, monetize. Here I was doing this, right? And you share that kind of message. So, and the third one is you want to make it fun. I am not a proponent of content marketing by torture. I believe that people should really truly love doing it. So when I look at content marketing, I look at it not as, do you need to be on all these kinds of platforms and do 57 posts a day and all the, work hard and be a, just a machine? No, absolutely not. I'm the opposite of that. What I think you should do is look at the 4 ways people take in your brilliance. They read you, they listen to you, they watch you, and they interact with you. Then you look at that and you go, I'm going to choose one channel in those 4 areas that I really actually love to do. So for me, read. I love to write social posts, right? That's my jam. I call them inspo posts, things that are inspiring, but also insightful, right? So an inspo post, that's my favorite kind of writing. Can I write a book? Yes. Have I? Yes. Do I want to now? No. So I'm not going to work on my book. Right. Next, then listen. Well, I love to do podcast interviews, as you can hear, right? I love to do that. So that's the way I want to do it. I'm not going to work on an audiobook. And watch, I love to do videos, right? So I'm going to do little short videos that are really quick, even like I'm getting into TikTok now. So doing videos is a way for people to watch my brilliance. Am I going to do a huge YouTube series that will take me forever to edit and do all that nonsense? Nope, I'm not going to do that. And then interact, I want to be on stages. I love to be, I'm a natural performer, right? I chow down on the stage when I'm there. So I want to find ways that I can shine on stage. So what I encourage your listeners to look at is read, listen, watch, interact. Find one of those channels that you love to do, or at least tolerate the most of, and do those. Give yourself permission to let go of all the other stuff that you don't have to do. Right? You don't have to do everything. You just need to do the right things around the right messaging and the right model of your brilliance.
Absolutely. So many people, every time like I speak or something, somebody will say to me, what channel should we be on? And it's like, it's what you resonate with. And plus, are your people, is your tribe on the channel, that the platform that you're using? And I think that's so important. I'm going to switch gears here a little bit, because a lot of my audience, yes, they're business owners, but I want to talk to the business owners for a little bit here. And so tell me a little bit about what you enjoy most about being in business for yourself.
What I love most about being in business for myself is the freedom to work in a way that is truly supportive of me in mind, body, and spirit. I am a highly creative person who works incredibly hard, but I also want to work out by the pool. and I want to work on the weekends, and then I don't want to work on Tuesday, or whatever the case may be. I really love the fact that it honors me and how I want to live my life, giving me the time to eat a healthy lunch, giving me the time that I can, go dance outside, whatever it might be, is number one. And number two, I would say that what I really love about being my own business owner, which I've worked in, enterprises, I've worked in small organizations, I've done a lot of different things in my career. What I really love too now, especially, is that you get to choose what you want to do. You get to choose. That's what I love about what I do as a crystallizer is let's find what your brilliance is first. And then you map the application of that brilliance. How are you going to share it, through your amplification, but how are you going to monetize off of it too? So for me, I came into this business 13 years ago as a thought leader, primarily as a keynote speaker. And through the course of that experience, I realized, wow, I'm actually really good at being a coach too. And I dabbled in some stand-up comedy, and I did some other different things, but I really loved looking at elevating beyond, oh, I'm just this, I'm just that, and going, I'm going to embody my expertise, and wherever that expertise shows up in products and services, it does. And there's no way I could possibly have the ability, the freedom to be able to make that kind of customized life, customized business working for anybody else. I tried, and frankly, most organizations, they want you to be in a box on an org chart that does a thing, and they want to keep you there. And so getting out of that box on the org chart is really one of the most potent things that I've ever done, is to really own my own business and own my life.
Yeah, I love that. It's like nobody wants to be in a box.
Exactly.
My big thing is I never wanted to sit in a cubicle. I can't sit still long enough to, just sit in a cubicle. So, we always, when I tell somebody that I'm in business for myself, they'll, wow, that's really neat and cool.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody kind of thinks of the glamour of being in business for yourself. It's like, oh, I'm going to own a business. I'm going to make money right away. I'm going to be this.
Mm-hmm.
What would you, I want to be real here, because it's not all glamour. There's a lot
my gosh, no.
Stuff. So what is one of your biggest struggles that you had as being in business for yourself, and how did you overcome that?
Oh, well, I'll give you one very recently. I have days where I'm crying in the kitchen too. Okay. So there's definitely those moments where I have Calgon take me away, phases. What I experienced as one of my major challenges in business was truly looking at the value ladder. It was looking at what are my offerings, and how are my offerings connected to each other. What I found was that I had too much of a gap on my value ladder from from an initial conversation with someone, or initial, they saw me speak, or they heard me somewhere, and what I offered. Okay. I offered, a very in-depth, very high touch, very, expensive, offer. And that's just what I did. Right. And that's all I did, was just boutique, high level, very big deep dive offers. And what I found was, the fact is, I didn't have a walk in the walk, run, soar value ladder. I didn't have something that went step one, they can get involved with me with a little bit, and step two and a little more, and a step three and a little more. I had them trying to reach too high for that one offer that I had. And so I really looked at, I'm going to plug every hole in my business. And that was a major hole to fill, which is, I want to give somebody value in working with me, but not that full megillah of the, crystallized path that can take in, 2 days to a year of time with me. Right. So I encourage your listeners to think, if you are struggling with making money first and foremost, ask yourself the question about the cocktail napkin, and can you clarify it? Because if you are running a business on a lack of clarity, all your strategies are going to be misaligned, and you will have sluggish sales as a result of that. Secondly, I would ask yourself, what's my value ladder? What is my walk that leads to my run that leads to my soar? Right? Not because we don't want to cannibalize our offers. We don't want to have one offer steal from another offer, right? And because a confused mind in the marketplace won't buy, and they won't understand what you really do. So I would have them look at what their value ladder is.
I love that. I was in this program once where we had to like put all our offers and see how they all went together. Yeah. And I too was missing a big piece. I didn't have that middle range priced item. And I'm like, but how can I get because you got to really give a lot of value with a medium price range product. Yep. I mean, I give value with everything, but the thing is I'm giving value way up here, but then I have an entry level, which is value. How do you get that middle one? And I found it was the most difficult thing that I ever did, and it's like, I love the thing about how they walk. You always have to think about how they walk through. And in the sense, because you already had your big package or your big boutique item, you literally could what do you call it? Re-engineer it,
reverse engineer it. Exactly.
Yeah. But I also think of it as when they first come to you, however they're coming to you, maybe it's a free offer or whatever. And then they're just going through that's how I see it. They kind of go through the path. They don't always buy all my stuff, but they come through some way. And at the end, the whole idea is you just want to get raving fans. You want somebody that's like, no matter what you do or how you do it, they're just going to follow you, and I see that on social media when I have this one fan that's like, everything that I post is like, oh yes. Yeah. And it's kind of cool, but because it's also, there's a part of influence that's involved in all this and how much influence we have over others and how we can change the world. I say it, change the world one post at a time. But literally, we can change the world and how we deal with people and how we help people in their businesses. So this has been awesome. I always ask this to everyone, and I don't want to forget it. But if there was one piece of advice that you could give to someone who maybe, been in business for a long time, maybe struggling, or they're thinking of starting a business and they're struggling, what would that be? I know sometimes it's not one piece of advice to all, but maybe one blanket piece of advice that would help somebody move forward in their business.
I would counsel them, Lorraine, to get constant vigilance posture on the input that you are taking in at any given moment. Ask yourself, what are you watching? What are you listening to? What are you reading? Well, who are you interacting with? And make sure, because this is a tough job. And anybody who's been in it knows that. It doesn't matter if you've started in a week or you've been in it for 15 years. This is a rough road. It is not easy. Otherwise, everybody would do it. So what I would encourage every single person to do is to really take a very unflinching look on a regular basis of what it is that you're taking in. Are you taking in positive, affirming, insightful, unifying, encouraging, illuminating, interesting information and insights from the media that you're taking in and the people that you're surrounding yourself with? Or are you staying at a frequency that is keeping you in a limited mindset, in a place that you are not happy and you're not on top of your energy, top of your game, because you want to be able to show up with a full tank each and every day. And it matters what you take in based on what you're going to send out.
Absolutely. It's probably the whole reason why I never watch news.
Yeah. I mean, it's
you're right in that, like, what?
Yep. Exactly. Watch your surroundings. What is your content you're taking in? Not just about the content that you're sending out. What are you taking in?
Absolutely. This has been really great. I could talk to you all day.
Thank you.
But I know that there's somebody in my audience that probably have connected with you a little bit or wants to maybe find out a little bit more about how you can help them.
Yeah.
So would you like to offer something to my audience?
I would. So I did a 10-part video course called the Crystallization Process, 10 steps to clarify, amplify, and monetize your brand and business. I just did these micro courses, little videos of me that just say, hey, you know what? Here's what I do when I crystallize the brilliance of other people. May it inspire you. May it give you some inspiration and insight on what you can do for your own cocktail napkin clarity. So if they go to theresarose.com/clear, and that looks like there'sarose.com/clear, they will get complimentary access to my video course. And then if that feels like something they want to learn a little bit more about, then we can always have a conversation after that.
Okay, well, thank you. And I want to thank you for being a really good guest on my show. And to everyone out there, I will see you all next week. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to the Biz Gone Social podcast. Find us on Instagram @BizGoneSocial for extra tips. Check back weekly for new episodes. Until next time, stay social.